I did get a lot of requests to watch more of the Critical Drinkers videos, by the way. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish destroys modern Hollywood. Let's freaking go.
You know, sometimes life throws us a bone from the most unlikely of directions. I mean, if you'd told me that a sequel to a 10-year-old animated spin-off from the Shrek franchise would turn out to be a smart, funny, charming, poignant meditation on life,
it's actually crazy if you think about it. Like, the first Puss in Boots wasn't even good.
loyalty, friendship, self-sacrifice, aging, and the inevitability of death, and one of the best movies that I've seen so far this year, I'd have asked what brand of turpentine you've been drinking, because I want some.
Damn.
And yet, here I am, having finally caved into the endless livestream questions and demands, polite requests that I watch and review Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Well, I've watched it, and I'm happy to say that for once, the hype was well and truly deserved.
Let's go!
This really is a
It's true. It's just a fantastic freaking movie. Just a fantastic freaking movie, and caught everyone by surprise. Even when people heard it was good, they were like, dude, you're capping. The last bunch of Shreks weren't even that good. Like, there's no shot this is actually as good as everyone's saying. This is a meme. Then you watch it and you're like, damn, this is a 9 out of 10 movie, easily.
Fantastic movie that's way smarter and more mature than it has any right to be, grappling with big questions that'll mean a lot more to the adults in the audience than the kids they're with. And for me, it actually restored a little bit of faith that we're still capable of making great animated.
Honestly, true. It restored my faith in animated movies. And I'm not even sugarcoating it. It literally did that.
Features. God only knows how this one actually happened, but I'm glad that it did. Anyway, the story picks up with Puss doing what Puss does best, swashbuckling and charming his way through another adventure in one of the most brilliantly choreographed action sequences in the entire Shrek franchise. He's basically a rock star, drunk on his own fame and in love with his public image. But that all changes when he gets killed by a falling bell, only for his 9 lives to save him. And that's okay, right? Because he's still got plenty more lives left.
Nope, you wasted him. Oh, who's gonna tell him?
See, it
who's
turns
gonna
out that
tell
all
him?
his years of reckless adventuring have finally caught up with him. He's only got 1 life left, and if he loses that, it's game over. Even worse, he gets confronted that evening by a mysterious bounty hunter who easily defeats him in battle, forcing him to go on the run. For the first time in his entire life, he's actually scared. Knowing he can't take the risk of being killed again, he says goodbye to his former persona and settles down for a life of retirement in a cat sanctuary, where he makes friends with a stray dog named Perito. It really seems like
actually, the dog didn't get the name until later. Dude, I roasted this dog like as a joke in my video, and the Perito stands came out of the woodwork to defend him.
his days of fighting and adventuring are behind him. Well, that is until the 3 Bears crime family come looking for him one day. They want to recruit him to steal a magical map from Big Jack Horner,
Who is also one of the greatest villains in recent history, and I made a video on him too.
a map which shows the way to the wishing star, which grants 1 wish to whoever finds it. Naturally, it doesn't take Puss too long to figure out that he can use his wish to get all of his lives back, and before you know it, he's out of retirement and on his way to steal the map. Unfortunately, this brings him into contact with Kitty Softpaws, an old flame of his who's also out to steal the map, forcing them to work together to get to the wishing star before Jack Horner and the 3 Bears. So basically what you've got is 3 different factions all trying to reach the same objective.
Yeah, and also 3 completely separate antagonistic forces that are handled in completely different ways, and each one gets fleshed out completely. How dope is that?
First, each running into various problems and obstacles along the way, especially Puss, who's haunted by visions of the hooded wolf that's still pursuing him. But does he have what it takes to overcome his fears and win back the lives that he lost, or will this be his last adventure? I've got to admit, my main thought while watching The Last Wish was, how the fuck did they manage to get this made? And I don't mean that in the same way as—
No! I literally can't escape Velma! Wherever I go! Wherever I am! Whatever I do, Velma shows up! I literally cannot get away from this nightmare! Puss in Boots running away from death the entire movie? That's literally me running away from Velma and seeing it looming in the trees and in the bushes, eternally trapped in this downward spiral of hatred.
Velma, which genuinely made me question my faith in the human race. Unlike so many animated movies now that range from soulless, homogenized corporate crap that might as well have been built on an assembly line to divisive and cynical attempts at political indoctrination, this movie has actual heart and soul to it.
It does.
It feels like the writers really had something important they wanted to say, and the skill and experience to get their ideas across without sounding preachy and condescending.
That is actually so true. There was zero, condescending messaging in Puss in Boots. People were so pleasantly surprised that the show is genuinely just good, and it wasn't condescending.
Imagine that in 2023. It's a movie that for once addresses universal and timeless themes like the value of friendship and loyalty, putting other people's needs before your own, and learning to appreciate the things you have instead of—
Dude, learning to grapple with your own mortality is such a powerful concept, just done so well in Puss in Boots. I don't think any other movie I've ever seen tackled it as well.
constantly yearning for the things you don't. Each character wants to get their hands on the wishing star to correct some shortcoming or flaw in
Except for Perito. Praise Perito. Perito stands, please don't kill me.
their own lives, whether it's being reunited with their real family, or finding true love and trust, or in Pussy's case, getting back the 9 lives that he wasted so recklessly in his youth. But as each character develops, they're forced
Or
to
just being a completely irredeemable monster like Jack Horner.
make choices between their own selfish desires and the needs of the people around them. It's an interesting little commentary on our preoccupation with finding quick, easy solutions to complex problems that'll eventually leave us right back where we started, rather than taking the harder but ultimately more rewarding path of self-improvement and learning to appreciate what we have. Puss himself is a great example of the angst and insecurity that comes with getting older, the melancholy of middle age, lamenting a misspent youth, wishing he'd made better use of the time that he had, and facing up to his autumn years without—
It's more than a coming of age story. It's a being of age story and regretting your past story.
knowing how to define himself now. He's kind of lost without the false bravado that once protected him from the world, forced to face up to his own mortality for the first time, and the fear of dying that comes with it. And like so many other people reaching middle age, his first instinct is to see it as a problem to be solved rather than a natural progression of life. His arc is all about learning to accept the changes that he's going through, to embrace the new stage he's moving into, and make the most of the time he has left. Just like—
And the wolf is freaking hot. I mean, scary as a villain.
the rest of us, he realises by the end that death is the one enemy he can never really defeat, but he's determined to enjoy each moment and cherish the life he has, instead of striking some hokey bargain to prolong the unfulfilling status quo. It's a much more mature and thoughtful perspective than you'd expect from a film like this, bringing home the point that the finite nature of life is what makes it so special in the first—
True. Good point there, raised Mr. Drinker Man. It is the finiteness of life that makes life so powerful.
place. And all of this from a kids movie about an animated cat who fights with a sword. Jesus, this film's got more heart, intelligence and creativity than most mainstream Hollywood movies aimed at theoretical adults. And it's all wrapped up in a script that's funny, exciting and charming, making use of a gorgeous animation style that for once feels fresh and different, instead of the same stale, generic CGI art style that you see in almost everything now. The voice cast all do a superb job. Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek are two voices that I could happily listen to reading off their fucking grocery list. Ray Winston and Olivia Colman are awesome as two of Goldilocks' bears, but honestly, I think my Man of the Match award has got to go to Harvey Guillen as Perito. Comedy sidekick—
Damn, another Perito simp out here! Oh, god damn it, don't fuel the army!
in movies like this can wear thin pretty quick, but Perito is so fucking likeable precisely because of his simplicity and endless optimism, despite the shitty hand he's been dealt in life. He's the only character in the whole movie who doesn't really want anything from the wishing star. He's got no real ambition.
He's really important to the movie. It's crazy how the movie had so many characters and each one was so fundamental to the actual story. No, I like Perito. I just made a backhanded joke. I called him a useless dog. Because that was this whole joke. The whole joke about his character is that he's a useless character, but that was his value, was his simplicity.
Ambitions or desires of his own. The only thing he wants is to be a therapy dog so he can help people. In fact, one of the standout scenes of the entire movie is when he helps a terrified Puss to calm himself down and get his head together.
Dude, can you compare this Puss in Boots panic attack? This scene compared to the Velma panic attacks, it just makes you cry.
Again, no dialogue, no dumb jokes, just two characters quietly sharing a heartfelt moment. Jesus Christ, when did we forget the magic of scenes like this? Ultimately, The Last Wish feels like some glorious throwback to a different era of animation and storytelling, a last hurrah for a vanishing art form.
Don't say that! Don't say that! Maybe it's just the beginning of a new boom of beautifully animated movies!
At the end of its time, and a defiant stand against the garbage that's infected modern Hollywood. It's proof of the enduring power of universal themes and ideas, the impact they can still have, and the compelling stories that can still be woven around them. Politics and culture culture might be fickle beasts, and one year's zeitgeist might be the next year's dated and embarrassing, but for me, real storytelling is forever. Anyway,
Damn.
that's all I've got for today.
Go video.
Go away now.
Puss in Boots is good stuff. It's hopefully a new era of quality writing. Hopefully. It's like, it's so funny that I feel like a lot of people don't recognize that there are actually still, like, I know no one likes optimistic Nux. Everyone loves cynical and annoying, pessimistic, roasting Nux, okay? No one likes optimistic Nux, but I'll drop some optimism on you. There is good stuff coming out these days, too. There's just so much more bad stuff that you kind of lose it. But just in the last year alone, I could think of many shows that are fantastic in their own realm. It's true, you also have the horrible crap, you know, your Velmas and your She-Hulks and all that. But we had our fair share of just absolute bangers, right? We had our terrible Rings of Power, but House of the Dragon was absolutely phenomenal. You had The Boys, which I think is one of the best, like, action comedies in recent years. Puss in Boots is a great animated show, and Hell of a Boss, which is just an animated series on YouTube, it's up there with the greats. It literally is up there with the greats. Obviously, there's a lot to complain about because Disney definitely did go downhill a lot, and a lot of recent stuff has just churned out trash. However, there are some great gems out there that's worth watching. Like, a lot of people complain about anime also. It's like, bro, if you look at every season, there's 12 isekai anime. But, like, you recognize some of the really great stuff that came out recently. You know, you got your Mob Psycho Season 3, Attack on Titan's final season, Part 12. You know, there's a lot of just good stuff that showed up recently that needs to get some credit as well. Even though there's just a lot of garbage, too. But anyway, that's just optimism, Nux. Stay weird, fam.